Bless us all tonight, brothers. Just been a bit busy on the weekend. I've been a bit busy today, and studying a bit of something in the church. And I've been putting my time into that, brothers, to be honest. And I've had a couple of looks at 1 Samuel, and I'm just looking at it tonight. And something I just want to just share very quick. I noticed since chapter 18, since David's great victory over Goliath, and David was on the mountaintop, we see in the next chapter how quick the mountaintop experience can go to a valley experience. How 1 minute we can be in victory and the next minute we can feel as if we're defeated. And we see David go from this great moment of defeating the giant to, next minute he's fleeing for his life. Saul, 2 or 3 times makes an attempt to try and pin him to the wall with a spear. But every time he escapes. And Saul, is afraid of David because the Lord is with David. He knows it's the work of God and he's fighting against it, brothers. And, we see Saul's daughter, Michelle, make a plan for David to escape. We see Jonathan, who loves him as his own self and who makes a covenant with David, who loves David. If we want to learn something about brotherly love, then study the character of Jonathan and we'll all learn so much from him. And even Jonathan makes up a plan to find out if Saul is going to kill David or not. And he finds out that when he goes and talks to his dad, that Saul chucks a spear at Jonathan. And, I was looking at it and we see that Jonathan told him and they wept, and the Bible says David wept more, and then David flees. So now, brothers, he's gone from defeating Goliath, the mountaintop experience, in the palace, given the king's daughter, the right-hand side of the king, being made the highest ranking official, to now he's fleeing from his family, he's fleeing from everything, and now he finds himself alone with no one. And here in chapter 21, when I was just reading it, David is alone now. But we know, brothers, that, the child of God is never alone. God is always with him. And we see the place where David goes. Despite David being tired, weary, being coming under attack, disencouraged, weary, he goes to the tabernacle. He goes to Ahimelech the priest. He goes to the house of God. And there he finds bread. We know this was the showbread. This was the 12 loaves, where the 12 loaves would be, and it was to show fellowship with Israel, and it was to be eaten in the presence of God, so God could enjoy fellowship with the priests as they would eat it. But we see in this chapter that human need is more important than customs and certain traditions. But brothers, what I just want to share tonight is this. Maybe tonight that some of us is feeling weary and tired and weak and disencouraged and flat. And we're going through a season where we just can't understand why these things is happening to us. Just like David maybe fought here, and we feel like we're alone. And we feel like, we've got nowhere to go, and we feel alone. And then we simply need to go into the presence of God. Because that's where David went here. He went into the presence of God. I know when you read the story, David lies and ends up in a Philistine camp. But look where he ended up. He wasn't alone. God was with him. He went into the presence of God, and there he found bread. And brothers, it's in the presence of God, spending time with God, drawing into his presence, that we find bread, spiritual bread. Remember, Jesus is the bread of life. You feel hungry tonight, you feel tired, you feel distant, you feel weary and weak. Then going into the presence of God, God will give you spiritual bread. Read his word, and his word will feed you, will strengthen you. And brothers, just when I was looking at this chapter tonight, that's what I just wanted to share. You know, when we go into the presence of God, you know that God can give us spiritual bread and can feed us and can strengthen us, and God can lead us. And we see that God is always with David. He never leaves him. He has a plan for him. And it's the same for me and you. We may be going through hard times, difficult times, trials, storms, weak, disencouraged. But remember that God is with us. Remember to draw into the presence of God. And remember, brothers, that spiritual bread is what we need to strengthen us when we're hungry and tired and weary. God bless us all tonight, brothers. Just thought I'd try and share a little bit of something with you. You know, remember, brothers, how easy we can go from the mountaintop experience and we can be in the valley. How easy we can be so, encouraged and on a high, and the next minute we can feel low and disencouraged. How easy people can, be praising us and be, our friend, and the next minute they can be pulling us down and trying to attack us. This happens in life, but draw into the presence of God and receive the spiritual bread from God. The bread of life is word, and it will strengthen us. God bless us all, brothers.